Hello, and welcome to Under 1000. My name's Thomas Flower, and each episode I'll read you a new piece of flash fiction. All of the stories are 1,000 words or less. Today, I'll be reading My World. Please be aware that this episode deals with themes of death, and also contains descriptions of characters burning to death. If that's likely to upset you, or anyone you're listening with, then you might want to skip this one. He was gone. Dead. The machine bleeped its last and they unhooked him. It was over. "I'm sorry," said some figure in a lab coat. "There was nothing we could do." I gazed past, barely listening. They might not have been able to do anything, but I could. The ability to move between realities had come to me when I was only young. It happened almost spontaneously. One minute I was sitting playing with Legos, and then click, the world shifted around me and I was suddenly playing with dolls. Turns out my desire for a different toy had caused me to create an entirely new reality with a completely changed history. Of course, for such a small switch, not much was changed. But as I grew older, I made my new realities more and more extravagant, bending the universe to my petty desires on a whim. Reality was like a plaything to me, up for constant revision and improvement, until one day I learned about the cost of my gift. It was him, the corpse now laying out in front of me. He was the one who saw what I was able to do, and who compelled me to stop. It seems that he had been blessed with a strange gift all of his own. Whilst I was changing the whole fabric of the world around me at the drop of a hat, he was the only one who saw the change as it took place, and who came through it to the other side. With what he was forced to endure as a result, however, perhaps his gift was more of a curse. I had always thought that my meddling was just a bit of fun trickery. I never understood the process exactly. But when he saw me, and realized who I was, he made sure to explain just exactly what it looked like from the other side. He described to me how it felt to be forced to shift from one world to another. He explained that we weren't just hopping between possible universes, errant travelers in the theoretical multiverse. Rather, as he told me, my changes ripped the pre-existing reality in half, burning the world in front of his eyes to a cinder. He would watch as people he loved were destroyed from the inside out, glowing with a brilliant light and then turn to ash while he could only stand and watch. And then, still just as helpless, he would see the ashes reformed around him, stitched back together by some invisible hand and formed into the shapes of the world he knew. He described the horror of seeing family burn, die, turn to ash, and then resurrect again, only to carry on chatting like everything was normal. He made it clear to me that I was not just jumping between possible worlds as I thought, but that in twisting the fabric of the universe around myself, I was destroying reality itself and then rebuilding it in a likeness I preferred. I knew then that I could never use my gift again. Now, though, he sits in front of me, a hardened, cold slab, the only man I ever loved, who had ever understood me, and I think to myself, would it be so bad? The world may burn and everyone may die, but at least on the other side he would be alive. I don't know the morality of it all anyway. Was I killing a world and then remaking entirely new people? Or just killing and remaking exactly the same ones? I'm no philosopher, but one certainly seemed less severe than the other. Even if they did die, though, did it matter? They never existed in the world after all. Their existence was snuffed out, quickly, unceremoniously. Was it wrong to kill billions if you were creating a world in which they never existed and their clones walked free? I wasn't taking anyone away after all, at the end of the process. They were all left standing after the fire raged and burned them away. And anyway, I had done it before, for nothing. What did it matter now, doing it for this, for us, for our life together? That was surely a more important case than wanting a slightly colder glass of orange juice. I could make this my last one, my most important one, and I could live with myself, I think. Though I'd know I'd left behind one reality to die, I'd have another where I had made things right. Hell, while I was at it, I could improve a whole host of things. I could bring world peace and an end to poverty and all of that. Really go in for it. One big last job. I could make a perfect world, and all I'd need to do was kill everyone I'd ever seen or known or loved. Emotion was overcoming me now. I could barely think reasonably anymore. I just knew I needed him. I had to have him back, and that was all there was to it. Who cared about the others, about their tortured faces being licked by unnatural flames from within? What did a charred, ruined world matter, so long as I could have him back? I didn't know if it was right. I didn't know how I would feel about myself, knowing that I had deliberately sent this world to its grave. But I knew, I only knew, that I needed him. And so there, in the hospital, I sat in front of his body, and I shut my eyes, and I felt the world burn around me, and I tried not to care. Thank you for listening to Under 1000. I'm your host, Thomas Flower. To follow the show online, look for Under 1000 Pod on Twitter or Facebook. If you'd like to support the show on Patreon, go to patreon.com/under1000pod, where you can sign up to read each month's stories in advance, as well as to have a thank you be read during these credits. The theme music is an instrumental version of In Between Days by Nick Tate and the Sharks. To hear the full song and more from the same EP, go to Nick Tate, Nictate, and thesharks.bandcamp.com, or search for them on your favourite streaming platform. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and that you'll join me again next time for some more super short fiction.